Hi everyone, thank you for tuning into my podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the meaning of Christmas and the reason why flame broiled Whoppers are usually the first choice of every American family. And you might think I'm joking, but stop fucking laughing if you are. Hello? Okay. So, flame broiled Whoppers, they actually represent something from back in the day. What it was sometime around the 1830s. I want to say between the 1830s and 1930s, somewhere between there. There were often these creatures that would appear from swamp water, and the swamp water was kind of combined with if you've ever played the game. There's a game called Alchemy, 1961. It was designed on like a track phone or something, and then they usually have been redesigning it on iPhones. So Apple came out with track phone, then iPhone, and then it kind of redeveloped into something brand new. So then when it came to the flame broiled Whoppers and the swamp people, they would usually take the water out, and then they'd introduce kind of like their own fleshy material, and it was actually like something like a cheeseburger, that we know today. We go to a place like McDonald's and we ask for, some kind of something that's more than just like Bath and Beyond. You need something that's more of a branded kind of a material. You probably find it at Walmart. Something that you could lay on, and it has a tendency to be kind of like mixed with a cheeseburgerish sensation. So you kind of take that out, you insert the water again, and then when it's rinsed, suddenly a t-shirt kind of pops out. Wait, that's the other story. That was a different podcast. I think I'm getting it mixed up. But anyways, the flame broiled Whoppers are usually the product of that kind of material. And as I said, it was 1800s, and it was probably around the same time that the presidents, the original founding fathers, were signing the documents to create a treaty with Versailles. And that was something that was happening over the course of, I want to say, 20 years. It all began when the airborne infantry were parachuting down into the enemy compound of the German occupation. And the German occupation was like janitorial. It was maybe, I want to say it was something, it was like kind of blue collar, white collar, kind of like a combination of that. Nothing to do with sales and customer service, but when you start getting into that kind of area of politics, it becomes a lot more vague and difficult to discuss. The paperwork, especially from back in the day when they were creating treaties, as they don't do that anymore. If you have watched Fox News, they usually develop news stories on that, and you have to wonder, what are these people thinking? First and foremost, what are they thinking? And that's just how people are these days. So now for another rendition of Silent Night, one of my favorite Silent Night songs. And so anyways, moving forward from here, talking about family, Christmas, and all that, the usual thing that we talk about during the month of December. Now, here's an interesting fact, is that the month of December was actually designed originally by Pablo Picasso. Most people don't know this because most people don't have a fucking history background, or they don't have the necessary precautions taken in order to move forward with that type of lingo. And Pablo Picasso is actually a secret. It's like a pseudonym for the real name. I can't really give that out, but I think the first name was like Carl or something like that. But anyways, he was the designer of the month of December, and it was actually kind of like a freak accident, like it was an experimentation of some sort. So when that happened, the experiment kind of reformatted itself, just like like a Whopper, flame broiled Whoppers. That's what we were just talking about earlier. So the important part about that is if you can just fucking, listen, just listen to what I'm trying to tell you. Family is there's a special meaning behind family, and it usually has to do with the Iron Curtain. The Iron Curtain was designed sometime around the same time as Pablo Picasso. And that invention was that comes from thousands of years ago. The origin of it actually it's more ancient than the manuscripts of papyrus and Greek mythologies, and people most of the time don't have the proper information, and they like to imitate and make fun of intelligent people and yeah. And that's not what Christmas is about. Christmas is about families, it's about friendships, it's about homeless people. And when you combine all of them together, you have kind of like a fucked up looking courtyard, because it's not exactly the cleanest. It looks kind of like there's like kind of a tents around, and it's like the gardening and the landscaping isn't really accomplished as much or as easily because of people sleeping just randomly on the grass. And you can't only blame homeless people for doing that. Sometimes it's just grass is actually a comfortable kind of thing to lay upon. So what people do is they back in those days, all the way up to these days with castles, they climb up the balconies and then they wish everyone a Merry Christmas. And that's where that saying comes from. And so you can think, the Picassos, you can think the Decembers, who are actually a family, and that's what the rock station from the 1950s is based on the Decembers, and that was a family from back in the day. So anyways, thank you so much for listening to my podcast. I hope you learned more about family, and for your sake, I hope you have a wonderful Merry Christmas holidays.